Okay, so you know that feeling when you just cannot get started, and your first thought is, ugh, am I just lazy?
Yeah, we've all been there. It's such a common feeling.
Right. But maybe we should rethink that. The sources we're diving into this week, especially this one piece, Week 18, You're Not Lazy,
Mm.
suggests it's often, well, something else entirely.
Exactly. It connects it to being dysregulated, underfed, and overwhelmed. And this isn't totally new ground for us, right? It builds on things we've touched on before.
Yeah, exactly. Pulls from quite a few previous discussions.
Mm.
So our mission today really is to unpack the real reasons you might feel that way, that lack of motivation, and maybe, just maybe, ditch the self-blame that comes with it.
It's amazing how quickly society and ourselves kind of moralize motivation. Like if you're tired, it's somehow your fault.
Totally. A character flaw, almost. But what if that fatigue is actually, or a message? The sources really emphasize that our bodies are trying to tell us something.
Hmm. Instead of just needing more willpower, the material talks about this cycle.
Okay, tell me about that.
Well, it starts with your nervous system being out of whack, kind of stressed or overloaded. Then maybe you're not actually nourishing yourself properly. Body, mind, spirit, the whole thing.
Right, undernourished.
Yeah. And add general overwhelm to that, it all leads to your energy just tanking. You end up running on what the source calls borrowed energy.
Ah, okay, like running on fumes.
Precisely. And then when you inevitably feel drained, boom, you label it laziness, and the guilt kicks in.
Which just makes you feel worse, probably less motivated. It links back to that idea, I think it was a week 16, about the body whispering before it shouts.
Exactly. That's a great connection. Low motivation isn't necessarily a defect. It's often your system signaling, hey, I need fuel, or I need rest, or even, I don't feel safe right now.
Okay, so if it's a signal, how do we usually respond? Often with a quick fix, right?
Oh, absolutely. Coffee comes to mind immediately. Or sugar.
Yeah, that quick hit. But the piece we're focusing on today explains that those things, while they might give you a temporary lift,
Mm.
they actually create what's called an energy debt.
Energy debt. Right. Like you're taking out a loan you can't really afford to pay back.
Exactly. It drains your actual reserves, your mitochondria, your nervous system. It reminds me of week 9, where we talked about energy needing to be cultivated, like a renewable resource you have to tend to.
Hmm. These quick fixes just mask the deeper issue and can actually make the depletion worse over time.
So the sources suggest a different approach. When that thought, ooh, I'm so lazy, pops up, what then?
Instead of judgment, get curious. Ask yourself some questions. Like, okay, hang on. Am I maybe dysregulated right now? Is my system overwhelmed?
Or am I actually fed? Body, mind, spirit, am I getting what I need?
Right. Or even, am I overstimulated? Or just deeply depleted? It shifts it from blame to inquiry.
I like the personal example in the source about noticing cravings. Reaching for more coffee or needing something sweet late at night.
Yeah, seeing those not just as habits, but as potential distress signals.
Right. And then shifting. So caffeine or sugar become like occasional choices, not the things you depend on to function. It ties into regulating before reasoning from week 15 and that cue to action reframing we discussed in week 12.
It really does. And that analogy they use, the energy bank with no savings, that really paints a picture, doesn't it?
It does. Constantly pushing the whole hustle thing, using stimulants. It feels productive for a bit, maybe.
But it's just not sustainable. It leads straight to that chronic fatigue people mistake for laziness.
So it keeps coming back to listening, really listening to our bodies. There's that great quote in the material from Clarissa Pinkola Estes, something like, the body always leads us home.
If we can find the feet to follow, yeah. It underscores how vital it is to tune in, not just push through.
Okay, so for someone listening, feeling this way, what are the actionable steps? What can you actually do?
Well, the core idea from the sources: stop trying to manage motivation like it's this separate thing to be wrestled with. Instead, focus on nourishing your foundation, your actual well-being.
So when the I'm lazy thought comes,
Pause. Don't just accept it, get curious. Translate that thought into a question about care. What do I really need right now?
and that, the piece suggests, is where self-leadership starts.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding your own nervous system, being what does it say? A compassionate energy steward.
Yeah, I like that phrase. It's about managing your energy wisely and kindly.
And speaking of energy and pressure, next time we're going to look more closely at the bigger picture, the societal stuff, the systemic momentum, and hustle culture. That's coming up in our discussion of week 19, the addiction to acceleration.
Definitely looking forward to that. But the main thing to take away today really is that fatigue isn't some kind of moral failing. It's information. It's your body communicating.
So, Nadia, final thought to leave you with.
Yeah.
What if feeling tired isn't a failure? What if it's actually your body putting the brakes on saying, hold on, I can't sprint on an empty tank? What might change if you started listening to that?